Hi and welcome. The best possible intro music. And this video, a brief notification that as of today, practically all of the BikeGremlin videos on YouTube are also available on the platform called Rumble. And I plan to upload all my new videos to both platforms. I did it to create a backup. That's the whole notification. I hope that it will never become an important and useful information, but it's always good to have a backup. For the rest of this video, I will explain the reasons why I did that, and I will also discuss some pros and cons of the Rumble and YouTube platforms for those of you who are not familiar with one or the other. So let me begin. I've been working with computers for decades, and one thing that is certain is that people mess up and technology, computers break and also mess up, get hacked and all sorts of things. So at least once a week on average I have one person coming to me with a problem that their information was lost and they don't have backups. So maybe my point of view is a bit skewed because I only get to see the highlights of the worst things. People don't call me every week to say, hey, my computer is working all good. Thank you for notifying me. They call me when they have a problem, but I am aware that it does happen. It is not something that only happens to other people. So for me, it is very important to always have backup of everything that is important. That was not the best sentence ever constructed, but you get my point. So I try to make a backup copy of everything that's important, and that includes my articles on websites and also my YouTube videos. It takes a lot of time and a lot of sweat and hard work to make high quality tutorials and educational videos or articles, and so I don't want to spend more time doing the same things all over again, because there are so many things that I still haven't managed to do, the topics that I haven't covered, and so I try to keep secure backups and keep making new stuff. There is a copy on a local hard drive that I keep. I also keep another copy on an external hard drive that is on a physically remote location but still in my city. And that is important because only one backup copy is not good enough because when the things on the main place, website or YouTube or whatever, get removed or lost for whatever reason, it can happen that the one backup copy ends up being corrupt. A hard disk can break down, usually with some warning, but not always. So it's good to have two copies separate, so the probability of both copies going bad at the same time when the main version is damaged is very, very low, especially if you regularly check the integrity of your backups. I won't bother you with the technicalities. I have articles discussing and explaining that on my computer related website io.bikegremlin.com, but the brief version is that when it comes to backups, one is none, so I wanted to have always more copies, and the main problem with having a copy in two locations in my city is that is not resistant to any natural disasters or wars. I'm in the Balkans. It happens. So I always try to make an online copy, which is not my first choice, because when I put stuff on the cloud, it's not on the cloud, it's on someone else's computer in some basement or a big data warehouse, but it's just another computer. It's not magical, it's not foolproof, you still need two copies. But an additional problem is that the download speeds and the ability to connect over the internet and download that, as well as security, is not perfect. So I try to combine having a physical copy and a cloud copy, hoping that at least they won't all go bad at the same time. Either of those can go bad, it's just a matter of time. That's guarantee, that's certain, but the probability of both being bad at the same time is very low. And that is why I wanted to make an online copy of my videos as well. However, unlike with websites, videos take a lot of storage space because it's a moving picture, and so the amount of storage that it takes to save me talking to a camera, one page of text is about 1000 times larger than it takes to save that text, even with some photos added, because it's at least 30 photos a second and high resolution and so on. And that costs money to keep it stored on some server. That's one downside of just keeping it stored in some server. Another downside is that if anything happens with Google and YouTube, Google owns YouTube, the servers crash, they get some hack or some problem. Again, no system is impenetrable and fault proof. So if anything happens, I would prefer for all of you who find my videos helpful and interesting, or at least fun, to be able to see videos right away. I don't want to spend days re-uploading that. And so I thought, if I can get a free place to store my videos, just like YouTube, and also so that you can view those videos right away, that would be ideal. So over the past 2 years, I was testing different platforms, Googling, asking questions and so on, and I've decided that for my intended use case, rumble.com is the least bad alternative to YouTube. It has its pros and cons, but it does let me upload my videos for free, and it does let most viewers see those videos. That's basically it. Now I will discuss some pros and cons of Rumble as a platform. So trying to be as objective as I can be, but primarily basing on my own experience with the platform. Technically, in terms of stability and performance, both for uploading videos and for watching them and using their mobile phone app, and so all those technical details considered, it is the best, or for the pessimist as I am, the least bad YouTube alternative. YouTube is technically far superior still, as some of my viewers have noted, and I really appreciate the time for the feedback. It's awesome. So the first thing is that automatic translations from English to any language that you may be speaking, and so you want to see subtitles, YouTube does that pretty well. It even deals very well with translating to my native, which is a very tricky language to learn and translate to. It does the translation very well, and I suppose, at least based on the testing and feedback, that the translations to other languages are also quite good. Rumble does not allow that. That requires pretty big resources, and Google is probably a company that can afford to do that without going into any more details, politics or anything, but I don't think that many, I haven't found any other alternative platform that does that at all, or in a good way. So that is one downside, and the other downside is that search on Rumble is even worse than YouTube, which in itself is far from a stellar search, and Google search itself has deteriorated, and I'll probably make a separate video about that. Do not bother you now, but that's why I made the BikeGremlin.com with the index of all my videos that you can search and find the answers to what you want to figure out, or for my articles works the same. Have a video on that as well, the BikeGremlin search. So there are some downsides to the Rumble platform, purely technical, and another downside is that some countries block Rumble. As far as I could research, Rumble does not block viewers from any country, but some countries do block it. I think that you will correct me if I'm wrong, but at the time of recording this, there were some problems with France, and Russia is also blocking Rumble at this time, so you viewers from those countries must use a VPN I have an article on my website explaining what a VPN is and what I use and hence recommend. I'll put all the relevant links in the video's description, but basically you need to act as if you're coming from another country in order to access the platform, because again, some countries block it, and that is basically the downside. That also ends up in the bottom line is that it is technical. There is some politics behind it, but for you as a viewer, it boils down to you not being able to access the servers, depending on what country you are from. I'm not sure about YouTube, whether YouTube blocks some countries or some countries block YouTube. I'm certain they do, but I didn't do any Googling and I didn't get any reports from viewers saying, hey, I cannot watch your videos in my country. Another downside of Rumble is that apart from, or in addition to poor search, the quality of videos on that platform, especially if you're looking for educational or stuff or tutorials, it's not very good compared to YouTube. This is my opinion based on my experience, so I don't mean to talk badly about any platform in order to make them look bad. I'm just sharing my experience, and for those who are not familiar, I hope that will at least help a bit so that you know what to expect. So it is lacking. Now I do try to make things better than they were before I came, wherever I go, and that in that aspect I also see my uploading videos to Rumble as a way of making that platform a bit better. Even if it sounds like bragging, I do think that the stuff that I do is good quality. And if you're watching this, I suppose you think similarly in those terms. So that is another downside of that platform. It is tiny compared to YouTube. Maybe a fraction of a percent of people who use YouTube, the number is on the rumble.com. So it's still a relatively small platform, and I don't know what will happen if it ever grows. For now, it seems to be very, how do I say, protective of free speech. So regardless of whether I like or don't like something, it can be published and said on Rumble, which is not the case on YouTube. That is something that everything has its pros and cons, but I see that as an advantage. And hopefully everyone can find the things that they are interested in if they have the freedom to choose, not have someone else dictate that for them. Now I will discuss YouTube a bit. I will start with the bad. One thing that I really don't like about YouTube is that you feel like you are on your own. In case of any problems, I will say just one example. I've had one video flagged, marked by the YouTube's automatic system as something bad. Without going into any more details, it was flagged. And my videos are not controversial, they are helpful, educational, and I don't see anything bad, dangerous, or similar or illegal being done or showed or recommended in my videos. And I was certain that's some sort of misunderstanding. But on YouTube I could not reach a reasonable or even an unreasonable human being to see and discuss the problems. Ideally I was hoping that someone on that platform would take a look at that video and see, okay, this is cool. That's very difficult, if not impossible, on YouTube, especially for people whose channels are not really huge, so that they make a lot of media attention and a lot of attention from millions of users. But even in that case, you can get into trouble. If I don't forget, I will put a link to a huge channel where they're discussing one of their videos being removed from YouTube, and based on my ethical compass and morality, that was not a good thing to do. That was wrong, removing that video. It's Linus Tech Tips, if I didn't get the name wrong, but it is a pretty big channel that deals with technology. Not something that I enjoy watching or even recommend, nor do I have something against them. Not my cup of tea, but it is a huge channel, and that video that got removed, as far as I can tell, it shouldn't have been removed. And public platform, YouTube and Rumble for that matter, all those big social media platforms are privately owned, but they should, because a lot of people rely on them for information, for sharing knowledge and similar. I think they should be very careful about censoring things, because on my forum or on my websites or even in my channel's comment section, I do give myself the liberty to do censorship, and I remove nonsense or things that I, as objectively as a human can possibly be objective, see as nonsense. I remove that, and I can say that publicly, and so that is censorship, as clear as the day. But my channel is intended for education and information, and it's not really a public service. But these huge platforms where billions of people are directed to are basically something that all the countries in the world could have considered providing as a public service, but instead it's done by a company, so it is technically privately owned, but the amount of responsibility and the effect that those platforms can create is not to be underestimated. And if I hate the word content, videos and articles or stories, whatever, on those platforms is being censored and curated, that must be done in a really objective and ethical way, and I don't see that being done. Again, this is my opinion. So the bottom line is that if YouTube decides to remove one of my videos or dozen of my videos or complete channel, I have no one to complain to, and there's nothing I can do about it, regardless of how unjust I or anyone else might consider that to be. That's how it is. I would like if it weren't so. I would love to think otherwise, but that's been my impression and conclusion after about a decade of YouTube experience. And so that's how I see it, and that is another reason why I was looking for a backup, and hopefully two platforms will not go crazy at the same time. So not just considering technical problems, but also any censorship removal or similar. And so I intend to keep on publishing all my videos on both platforms. And a fun thing is that YouTube will censor or only demonetize a video if there is as little as 1 or 2 seconds of any kind of music in the video. So if this video gets removed, I will need to upload a new version on YouTube with cutting out that introduction. That's one thing. And another thing is that I've had an automobile pass by the garage where some music was blasting through the door, so that was just 1 or 2 seconds, and YouTube said this video is going to send all the profits from the video. YouTube takes half to themselves, but the other half they will send to the author of that music, and that was some really bad music that I do not wish to support in any way. So I was left to decide whether I want to cut half the sentence that explains something important, or try YouTube's algorithm that can clear out the copyright protected music, and it did that surprisingly well, so you could understand what I'm saying. It was in a video in my native, if memory serves me, but YouTube did that pretty well. But it is a hassle, it is a bother, it is something that you need to think about, and I deliberately put some music at the start of this video, and I'll put some at the end also, to see if YouTube does something crazy and to see if Rumble does something crazy. I just want to test and compare, in addition to sharing this information and explaining. So my sincere apologies for a really maybe boring video or too much talk or information, but this is something that I think is worth sharing. This is my opinion and my plan, and I think it's some of you have been following and supporting my work for years now, and I think it's okay to share this and explain my thinking process, my reasoning, and especially get corrected in case I get something wrong. It's two-way communication, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy, and it's helped me too over the years quite a lot. I also don't want to forget to thank the good people who support my work via Patreon. That's patreon.com/BikeGremlin. There you can decide which monthly amount of support works for you if you wish to support what I'm doing. And there is also on YouTube, there is YouTube channel membership. I'm not sure how and if that works on Rumble, but you can also do that. And there is BikeGremlin.com for search and all the information of my videos and articles, and also BikeGremlin.net forum for any questions, corrections or additions. That's where I would recommend, what I would recommend that you use instead of the comment section of either YouTube or Rumble, because when there are a few comments you still cannot search them. If you open the video, then you can see them. And if there are a dozen or more comments, you don't even see them. You need to scroll and it gets lost, all the questions and answers. So I think that's a wasted effort. Because why not make one answer be visible to anyone who has a similar question, not just answer for one question the same answer over and over and over again. So that's the whole video. Thank you very much for watching. I will try to play some more music before I put the outer. Give it a few seconds to see if it gets answered. Thank you very much. Cheers.